The Showdown Podcast presents the Survivor Series with Corey Miller, Vic Miller, and Brad Scott. This week's episode, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Welcome to the Showdown Podcast. It is another Survivor Series episode. I am Brad Scott. I'm joined as always by Corey Miller and Vic Miller.
That's a fact, Jack.
Hello. And this is the 1991 live-action movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And This is a movie that I hold near and dear to my heart because I was 9 years old when this movie came out, and I remember I was obsessed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from probably about four to probably 12, maybe. I don't know. At least a year or two after this movie, and I mean, how could you not be as a kid? They're four giant turtles who are ninjas and eat pizza. And I remember my mom, literally, when this movie came out on VHS, had it the first day, and it was a Friday tradition that I would watch this movie after school and after I got my homework done. And we would get pizza from Little Caesars, and I would just every Friday night.
And she regretted every Friday night.
Oh, I'm sure she hated the movie. There's movies that I'm like, oh, we got to watch this again. Like Frozen,
but
really?
She still
again?
did it because that's a good mom.
That's right. Happy belated Mother's Day, Mom.
And like
Even
Corey's
though you
ass,
don't
he would have been
listen
like,
to
"You're
the
not
show.
listening. You're not watching shit."
Yeah, Corey would. I could see Corey being that dick parent. I'm sick of watching that bullshit. But it was a very, very special movie to me as a kid. It was. I think every kid saw it. Every kid remembers, was it Toko and Razar? Toko and Razar, and just so many great moments. Vic, Corey, actually, let's start with you.
Uh-huh.
Did it mean a lot to you?
It meant absolutely nothing.
Oh, but you've seen it.
No. This was actually the first time I'd actually seen it.
How have you never seen this in life?
How is this even possible?
Because I was way too old when it came out.
Fair enough. No, if I was 60, I wouldn't have gone and seen it in 91 either. To be fair, I wouldn't. What? Turtles? Huh?
Yeah.
The ninjas? Which one are they? Are they teenagers? Are they mutants? Are they ninjas? Are they turtles?
I don't get it. We joke around about that, but in all seriousness, I was in high school when this came out.
Holy
so was
shit.
I.
Yeah.
And I still love the shit out of
And
Ninja
y'all
Turtles. And we
motherfuckers
went and
are
saw
old.
it in the movies, and we all fucking
Yeah, I
talked
think I
about
would
it
have seen it in
and
high
had
school,
like a
too.
great time with this movie.
Yeah, it just. I think I was a freshman. I think.
So,
This
Vic,
was
you
91.
saw it.
I saw it.
In
I
high
saw
school.
it in high school. I saw it in the theaters. We had a blast watching it. Like it was. I remember, like, because we were Ninja Turtle fans in the first place. Because I'm a big comic book nerd as it is. So like I knew the comic books and everything like that. So when they made the first movie, I was like, holy shit, they're making a Ninja Turtle movie. This is awesome. Then when they decided they were going to make a second one, I was like, well, that makes sense. They made a shit ton of money out of it. It was really popular. Why not make another one? And that's about where they went with that.
You know what, though? But the first one gets so much praise. I noticed, like, it even has a higher percentage on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it's still not great, but it's higher. And a lot of people say, like, oh, it was so much better because it was such darker tones.
Except there were some parents who had backlash over the first one, and that's why in this one they never drew their weapons.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I didn't realize that until
Yeah, they just punch people in the face.
Well, yeah,
it's so much less violent.
They stab ceiling tiles with swords, but not people.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: like, this movie to me was fun. It was more fun than the first one, and the April in the first one was not hot at all. Like this April was at least a little hot, you know? She had that hot early 90s, late 80s look to her. The one in the first one, she looked like the news reporter in Tim Burton's Batman after she can't wear makeup on the screen. That's what she just looked tired and pale.
She didn't wear yellow in this one either. I know.
She wore all types of stuff there, didn't she?
Yeah.
And
I think that was like after, like the signature thing with her is that yellow jacket that she wore in the cartoon. So they always try to put it in there, but they really didn't try very much on.
Have they done that with the newer? Yeah. I don't remember. Did they? Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Megan Fox wears it.
They're staying really true to like the cartoon in the comics. It feels like in the new ones,
In the
like
new
the
ones,
van especially.
Right.
I feel like if kids now not knowing or having seen like the years of cartoons and comic books and stuff are like, what? They get a fucking van. That's dumb. They never have a van. You're like, as a kid, you're like, I had that van.
Yeah.
My turtles used to roam the living room in that van. What do you agree? Oh, you agree with me there? Oh, Mr. Too Cool for School couldn't go see the movie, but had the toy van?
No, I didn't have the van. I just know the van you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
The Ninja Turtles party bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shoots pizzas out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, my kids...
like Rob Gronkowski's party bus. A lot of blow and liquor.
My son kind of inherited my toy collection when because I collected all of these Ninja Turtles when they came out because I thought they were cool, and my son kind of inherited all that stuff from me once he saw the Ninja Turtles for the first time. Even though his generation had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he still was into those turtles. They were the thing.
See, that's where my cutoff was. Yeah. I didn't ever get into the Power Rangers or Pokemon. I wasn't ever into that.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Even Pogs, which were still in my time frame. I like collecting them. I never like played whatever.
I could see you collecting the sports Pogs, the basketball teams.
Yeah, I did that. Well, there's some other ones too. I can't remember now. Just cool looking ones. Yeah. But I like the metal ones. Well, the Slammers is what they're
Slammers.
I cared more about those. I collected those. I didn't really give a shit about. I didn't want to play anybody for them. Like, why? I don't want to give you these. Oh, we have to do what? No, I don't want to win any of those.
Right.
Those aren't the ones I like.
Yeah, I was too old for that stuff, but I knew it, and I mean, I knew of Pogs and Power Rangers too, and I saw some of the Power Ranger stuff, but some of the shows, but I never really got into it. I've been wanting to lately. I've been thinking about going back and watching Power Rangers, but I've got other stuff to do.
Oh.
Well, there's a brand new Power Rangers coming out too.
Yeah, and that's the and that's what spawned me to think about doing that. But I did. I don't want to get off on a Power Rangers thing here, but the fake trailer that they put out last year with James Van Der Beeken, I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway. Let's go back to...
All right, so let's get into the movie that we are here to talk about today. Vic, why don't you guide us through the masterpiece known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
So The Secret of the Ooze is the second part...
Oh, real quick, though, we should mention... Sorry, we should mention this. We have a new addition to the show. That lovely waterfall sound you hear in the background
you're gonna point it out.
live from Corey's kitchen is because Corey is slowly morphing into a supervillain and has added a shark tank into his kitchen. So he literally has a giant tank that has sharks in it.
And if at some point he goes off on a wild tangent about how he's planning on killing us and feeding us to the sharks, it'll probably be too early and we'll escape. So
here's the problem. If he started now, bedtime is so soon. At that age, you got to get to sleep
there's
at
so
a good hour.
There's so much more stuff for him to do.
He had dinner 2.5 hours ago.
I'm working on getting lasers for the tops of the sharks.
So that
don't forget to waterproof them and it'll
Well, we also get told a lot. Hey, we really love your podcast. It's like our white noise when we sleep. So we thought we would help out those people by adding a nice little waterfall ambiance into the background.
There you go.
So Vic, sorry, go ahead. Tell us about the movie.
Okay, so we are on the second installment of the Ninja Turtles, and after following their defeat of Shredder and the fact that they had lost their home because it had been found out, the Ninja Turtles end up moving in with April O'Neil and continue their ongoing love of pizza, which is where this movie starts off with a young pizza delivery boy by the name of Keno. Keno. Sorry,
Wait,
Keno.
isn't it kind of weird that they didn't? It was like they had continuity from the first movie, but didn't have continuity.
Right.
Like they went by the same plot line. It's supposed to take place like a day after.
It seems like, yeah.
The first one, but the guy that they just fought crime with for months, that April had a relationship with, Casey Jones, is nowhere to be found. Not even mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't bring him up at all. But I think it's, again, you know...
By the way, real quick, for stealing Corey's idea.
Of course. That backlash from, you know, like you said, from the parents all being pissed off about the quote-unquote violence of the first movie. I guess they just didn't want Casey Jones back in it. That or he just decided, I don't want to play a fucking...
but they could have replaced him. I mean, they had no problem replacing April O'Neil.
Yeah, I think it was more. I would think it was more the violence thing than anything else.
But yeah, everybody is obsessed with pizza, and I do remember that as a kid. Like that scene, even now when we were watching, it makes me want pizza.
And yeah, like I said, it's a well known thing. Like New York City is huge on pizza. You can't turn a corner.
And they showed like really good pieces of
Without-
pizza with the cheese, like
huge slices.
You
and
can tell those
everything,
are like
New York-style
movie
pizza.
slices. Yeah,
I will literally fly to New York and just to have pizza with my sister and fly the fuck back because that's like the best pizza ever. And I'm not fucking kidding. I've done it.
Oh,
so
Wow.
the closest we have is Luca.
Mm-hmm. And that's not bad.
It's not bad, but it definitely isn't. It isn't the same.
Yeah.
But
so Keno, I have been corrected, and now we'll try to remember because I will call him Chino at least five more times.
Mexican.
Keno is the pizza delivery guy. After we get inundated with just pizza everywhere, they find out that there's an order, and Keno is delivering pizza to April O'Neil's apartment, which apparently makes orders to them on the regular. So he hops in onto his moped with his pizza box in the back, drops the pizzas in, heads out to go deliver the pizza, but then gets distracted.
Oh, but also gets savage. He gets savage on that girl.
That's true. She was talking shit. He's like, you want to ride? And she's like, no, get a life. And he's
Loser,
like,
call him a loser, right?
Yeah.
Or something? Or no, in your dreams, loser.
yeah. And then he starts attacking her weight.
Well, no, it is. Yeah. If I'm gonna be dreaming something about someone thinner, that way, just savage.
Right
Yeah,
there.
that's pretty
He
harsh.
starts out early.
Finish
So he gets to his
Fatality.
destination. And he goes to deliver the pizzas, but he notices that there's two vans obscurely sitting in an alleyway, which in New York City is not an odd thing, but decides to go and investigate.
Which I thought was just stupid, as far as writing goes. I mean, it's why he's got no reason to even go over there. It's just two vans.
No,
with
because he's
doors
just
open.
a good dude, man.
Hey, he's like, that
He
looks
saw,
weird.
he
Let's
saw
check that
crime
out.
happening, and he felt he had to do.
But he
Hey,
didn't know it was crime.
See something, do something, Corey.
Exactly.
See something, run the other way because you probably.
Well, that's Corey's philosophy.
Yeah.
So Keno ends up going. He walks into.
Yeah, but when Corey sees something, it just means a black person. That's
See
his.
something.
That's his something.
see something, lock doors.
Yeah.
So he goes down into the shopping mall, and he notices a bunch of guys down there who seem to be robbing the place as they are all wearing pantyhose on their head.
And that is a lot of guys for two vans. I can imagine them all getting in there.
To be fair, though, like they probably had to wear the pantyhose because, like, at this point, Shredder was still supposed to be dead.
Right.
So they probably didn't think they had the financing for, like, but they had to cut back uniforms.
Well, do you think these guys are really the Foot? I don't think they were actually the Foot.
No, I don't think so.
To
do
be
you think
completely
these were
honest, the
just
reason-
regular
Yeah.
burglars?
I think they were just robbing the place.
Okay.
But so he goes down, and honestly, this movie starts off with him committing a crime because not only does he go down there and tell them to stop, but before they even lay a hand on him, he
impersonates the
starts
cop.
kicking their ass.
No, he impersonated a cop.
No,
first.
he didn't. He just said freeze, like he was going to
He
do a
said-
citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
But as soon as
Well,
the guys start to
to be
walk up
fair,
to him,
they
he starts
weren't.
beating their ass.
Well, but they weren't walking up just to chat.
Well, I'm sure, but first
He was
contact, that's
self-defense.
assault.
He knew they were. He knew they were criminals.
He's an arm. He's a weapon. So he starts kicking their ass.
Do
and
you
then,
think those guys would want to press charges
I don't think they would wait
and
for
get the
cops.
police involved? Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they'd probably chase him down. But so as he's whipping their ass, more and more of them start flooding out of every building in this little shopping gallery. There's like 30 or 40 of them, and he's just standing there like, oh, crap, what do I do now? And as he's contemplating his imminent demise by the stocking-clad group of ruffians, the Ninja Turtles come down the staircase and jump to his aid, quickly shove him into a trash bin, I believe, after covering up with a sheet that they grabbed out of
he was
midair.
Stuck in there for the next 5
Well,
minutes.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm sure you got attacked by like bullies in high school that put you in a trash can. I would have put you in a trash can.
Oh, thank you.
But so Kino steps
Really?
back and he's watching as the Ninja Turtles pretty much decimate these guys. Again, never drawing their weapons, never actually doing anything to harm them for the most part. Actually, the only person that actually hits anybody with anything with one of his weapons is Donatello, because it's just a stick. And
Yeah.
like he gets away with it, but like
Which we figured out, Vic is the Donatello of the showdown, and his notorious texting, because we noticed that later on when he's at the computer, and I was like, yeah, like that's it's not, those aren't staffs he carries behind him, those are just big ass styluses,
They
so he
click
can
together.
actually text the other turtles.
So they go about fighting these guys the best way they know how, without causing any real physical damage to anybody. Michelangelo, Raphael, fucking, I go through all of them. Leonardo uses a belt to whip one of their asses and hog ties a guy. Michelangelo uses 2 sausage links and as nunchucks, and Donatello suckers a guy into believing that he's a punching bag for some reason.
I remember
Michelangelo uses a
oh
yo-yo.
yeah, Donatello does the clown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember thinking as a kid that this was the greatest comedy sequence in the history of film.
Yeah.
I just remember dying laughing every time I would watch it.
And honestly, like as per se badly as the thing did in the box offices, whenever I saw it, everybody was cracking up about it.
I'm sorry. What?
Compared to the first one, it did badly.
Hey, I'm sorry, but budget of 25, you make 78.6. That's a success.
That's not 30%, is it? Do the math.
You make 3 times what you spent. Isn't that the idea?
Considering how much the first one made on a $15 million budget, it made over $100 million. That's not
made
quite the
$200
success of the
million.
second one. Oh, well, $200 million. I'm going off the top of my head. But still, I mean, when you really think about it, that's not quite as good as the first one. And they thought it was going to do better. But obviously the changes that they forced them to make kind of drew off, what it was actually capable of doing. But so they go through the fight. Michelangelo accidentally starts to tell Kino where he lives, even though I think Kino kind of figured out that there was something going on with all the pizza being ordered, and then their proclamation, and then them stealing his pizzas when they get done beating up
They
the
didn't
ruffians.
steal it.
Nope.
They left money.
They did,
And
but he
it was
thought they stole it.
But it was going to where he was taking
Right.
it. They saved him a trip.
He thought that they had stolen it first until he reached in the bag and grabbed the money, and then he realized, oh, they paid for it.
He probably figured, they probably live there. That's probably when he figured it out. He's Asian. He can do the math.
Do that fashion weekend, huh?
Where do you think the Turtles got the money?
April?
Yeah.
She's their sugar mama.
Okay.
I mean,
But they return home.
lots of shit drops into the sewer, too. You'd be amazed how much change probably drops into the sewer.
Yeah, well,
That's
but
how
they weren't
paying
living
for it.
in the
That's how they
sewer
were paying
at this
for it
point.
before.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they were.
I figured
they
he
were
was going to
able-
ask a question, but it never came up, like, how are they doing it when they lived in the sewer? But I guessed I expected too much. I
So
expected too
back
much.
to the apartment.
So they get back to the apartment. April is coming home at about that time, and she meets up with some of her fellow residents who don't like the fact that she spends so much time doing jazzercise and aerobics in her apartment. So they start questioning, like, what the hell's she doing up there, and everyone's like, oh, it's the Turtles in her house, because we weren't supposed to know that that's exactly where they were, but we knew. So she gets up there. The Turtles had climbed in through the window, as that seems to be their most useful.
Well, they can't
entry
go
and
through
exit
the
point.
lobby, Vic.
Well, yeah, but that's their most useful entry and exit point, as I was pointing out. However, this pizza thing kind of irks me the entire time, because you don't treat a good pizza this way.
Yeah.
Like, they're just walking
Yeah,
like the
that's
pizza
what held
hanging
up.
sideways.
That's what got Vic held up on the movie.
It was annoying the piss out of me.
It wasn't the 4 giant talking fucking turtles
Look, we
that
were
were
already
fighting
vested
crime.
in that part one movie ago.
You guys are
It was
That's
the
just annoying.
it was the mishandling of the pizza. But like I said, it has one of those little table things in the middle. That's what kept it in place. That's what those are for.
They're mistreating the pizza.
It was quite annoying. So they get there, they start eating, and they just start having general conversations. Then they weren't supposed to be going out in the first place. Master Shredder Splinter is upstairs, and they're not supposed to have gone outside because he doesn't want them seen. Obviously, from the previous movie, we know that he doesn't want anyone to know that they're there. So they start, chowing down on their pizza. April is I think she's frustrated and fed up with them being there because the place is a mess, and she wants them to be cleaner. And even at one point, she grabs her some napkins for them to eat over, and they're like, "What the hell do we need those for?" And she's like, "Fuck it," and she throws them all over the place. So, I mean, technically, it's her own fault. She invited them there, but I think that her real sentiment was, "Get the fuck out of my house."
I've already had all that turtle dick.
I've tried each of you. I'm done. I'm not doing the rat though. So they decided they're gonna go and look for. They're gonna clean up her house and try to make things better for her. And then we find out that in their conversation they're talking about the fact that they had defeated the Shredder. And right about that time we cut to the junkyard, or I guess it would be the landfill, where we see a Shredder fist come pop out of the crap, and we know that Shredder is still around. The Foot Clan, which is where I was questioning the whole concept. What's the time frame between the first one to the second one? It's not real clear, but obviously there's been a lot of changes because April's got a better job, which maybe she picked up along the way. But Shredder apparently, I mean, if you get crushed in a trash can and taken to the landfill, like, how long are you supposed to survive like that? And that's my real question. And then he just kind of pops up. But the Foot Clan apparently had a plan to meet at a junkyard in place. That was like their rally point if they got defeated by the Turtles. So I guess Shredder also shows up there, and they're all surprised as they thought he was dead. And what's the I can't remember the other guy's name.
Tatsu.
He is pissed off all the time. I don't think there's any other demeanor for him, but he doesn't say much, but he's always mad. And they show up and they're like, "Well, is this all that survived?" I didn't realize that like the Ninja Turtles had killed any of them. So when only like 6 of them show back up, the rest of them just quit. They're like, "Fuck it. There's Turtles. There's a guy in a hockey mask, and they kicked our ass. I'm done. I'm just gonna go do my homework now."
I just realized where I'd seen the dude that played Shredder, what he was from. He was on Lost. That's what I remember. Dr. Chang.
Okay.
All right, move on.
All right then. So
I like how I just brought the show to a stop.
Shredder rolls up and decides, he's going to find a way.
Shit back over, right?
Yeah, find a way to defeat the Turtles because he's embarrassed. He got beat by a rat. He got thrown in a trash can, dropped off at a landfill, and his entire crew consists of like 15 teenagers, a really pissed off Asian guy that can't talk, and he's in a dump. So apparently he still has spies because somehow Tatsu assigned one of his guys to work with April O'Neil.
Yeah, as a cameraman.
And be her grip, because the cameraman was there too. I guess he's just the guy holding the cable. And like, how do they get these people into these jobs? And like, isn't he a little old for a teenager? Because they only hire teenagers. So I'm not quite sure where he fits into that whole scheme of things. But he's still spying on her and lets them know that when she does her interview with the doctor who is responsible for
Professor Jordan Perry,
which is the head researcher for
Techno Global Research Industries, TGRI.
Yes. Tiger.
And he has explained to her that
Thank God it's Rhode Island.
Yeah, nobody thinks God it's Rhode Island. So he just proclaims to April that they're trying to do the best they can to clean up all of the sludge that they found in the buried underneath of their former site. If you will. And as they are cleaning this stuff up, they find out that it has some strange properties that cause things to grow extremely large and extremely fast, in the form of a gigantic dandelion, at which one of the researchers just grabs it.
Is it dandelion or dandelion?
I think it's a dandelion, isn't it?
I'd say dandelion.
You say dandelion?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like tomato?
Yeah, I think so.
Dandelion.
I would say so. I've always said dandelion. I know people say dandelion. Guess it's regional.
I guess none of us are exempt. So yeah, they discover the giant
a real man who can admit
dandelions.
his own
The giant dandelions.
Exactly.
Which two people pick out of the ground.
Yeah, because the idiot spy runs over and grabs one too and takes off with it.
Well, he goes to show Splinter and Rodriguez. Well, if you don't know, Robert, we have to credit that reference.
You just did a me, by the way.
There is a video on YouTube by what is I'm gonna find the account. This guy deserves to be.
Well, while you look that up,
credited.
Two people pick the dandelions, yet, and then it says contaminated, yet they're not protected at all.
And that whole point was like, so they know that it's toxic waste of some sort. The EPA is after them to clean it up, but they're going to run around grabbing oddly sized vegetation out of the dirt in this area without any real thought of consequences as to what could possibly happen to them for doing so. So this kid delivers the flower to Shredder, who is a little pissed off that he sends him to spy on April to find out where the turtles are, and he brings him back a big fucking flower.
Hang on real quick, and that is Ron Lee Brown. You can search on YouTube, Ron Lee Brown. It is the Teenage Mutant Turtles, and it is him dubbing over clips from the first and second movie.
As urban turtles.
Yeah, it is hilarious. And Shredder tells Tetsu that he doesn't deserve an Asian name, so he's going to call him a Mexican name. So he just keeps calling him Hector and Rodriguez and just all these generic Hispanic names through the whole thing. And it's hilarious. There's 11 episodes. They're 5 minutes long. Go watch it. Very funny. Sorry.
But after you listen to us.
Yes. But I want to make sure we plug that because that's very funny.
It is.
And it needs to be mainstream. Everyone should have seen these. They're so good.
We want to give them at least 5 more downloads.
Yes.
And 3 of us are right here.
So then they come back we're back at the apartment, right?
Yeah, they actually Shredder decides that he wants to know more about this, whatever it was, this chemical that caused those flowers to grow, because he figures he can use it to defeat the turtles. So he's going back to find out what's going on. So you go back to the turtles, and they get back, and
they've been watching the whole thing on the news.
They've been watching the whole thing on the news because obviously they're infatuated with getting into April O'Neil's pants. So they spent the entire day watching this, as did Master Splinter. I keep fucking that up. As did Master Splinter, who also has seen what's going on and is now worried for some reason that we don't know why.
Yeah, and April gets home, and she looks around, and she's curious.
Guys, where's Splinter?
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Really? Doing what?
Coming.
That's so funny. It had to be intentional, right?
It had to be.
It had to be intentional. It's just so perfect.
Somebody in there was going, let's throw this in here and see if anybody catches it.
The pause.
Guys, where's Splinter?
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Really? Doing what?
Coming.
Because okay, let's look at that. So where's Splinter? He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Yeah.
And then she seems creeped out.
Yeah,
doesn't she sound?
weird.
Listen to it again. Doesn't she sound creeped out when he tells her he's been up on the roof ever since?
Guys, where's Splinter?
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Really? Doing what?
Coming.
See that there was a hint.
She said, "Really?
Really?
Fuck's he doing up there?" Coming.
and there was
And they're all shocked at the statement.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's the pause,
Right.
that he takes after
he says it.
coming.
Yeah, and he's like, to a conclusion.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
What? Hold on. Why didn't you just say that all in one breath? Why did you make that creepy pause?
That was so funny.
It's definitely
Guys?
something that should not be there.
Where's Splinter?
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Really? Doing what?
Coming.
As you can see,
Hand
this
me a
is
napkin.
now Brad's favorite part of the entire movie.
So good, so funny. Okay,
Somebody
so
get me some
So
Kleenex.
then he reveals to the
he
turtles.
reveals that that's the secret of the ooze. Suddenly have the name of the movie. He shows them. He's like, "You've seen this before, but you did not know what it was." And it's the broken canister of ooze, which again, this ties back into multiple things. One, that thing came through the gutter, fell in the gutter, broke open, doused Splinter, doused the turtles. We know the storyline from the last movie, so we don't need to go into the whole thing. However, he never explained to them, I guess, as to, that
How
this
they
was the
learned.
reason why they were... Like, I think at some point this conversation would have been had. Like, you guys know you don't look like anybody else out there. You don't look like me. I'm obviously not your real father. Like, none of you have any fur. But, at some point you tell the turtles about their illegitimate father,
How exactly did they learn to be ninjas? And don't say from Splinter, because he was just a rat before he turned.
Did you not watch the other movie?
No. Told you.
You didn't see the first one?
No. But in the comics, how did that happen?
It's the same storyline. He was a Roshikage's pet rat, and he basically spent all this time watching him do this. So then, when he became Splinter, when he got doused, he became Splinter. He basically remembers all the things that he had learned. His mindset doesn't change. He's still who he is. He just becomes sentient at that point and learns how to do martial arts.
Okay.
Learned from his master, who. That's the actual storyline. That's
They don't call him Student Splinter, Corey.
He becomes the master. So
Bader.
You got crickets during the loser game show.
So he goes on to explain to them, the history of the ooze and where it came from. And after he does this, they go back to the doctor. Who is at his lab, the professor, who is at his lab trying to dispose of the ooze. Now, this is one of my problems with this, is they were pulling up drums of this shit out of the ground. Like, they showed cranes with drums of it coming out of the ground. He is apparently taking those drums, emptying them into these little-ass vials, and then disposing of them through his little machine is that looks like the TARDIS from Doctor Who.
I think he had an ulterior motive. And which we never learned.
The old man?
Yeah.
He was literally trying to dispose of it. Like, that's what he was doing at that console, was just disposing of it.
That's what he said. But by putting them into the smaller containers and then doing something, I think there was something else he was wanting to do, but he just got interrupted by Shredder.
So what you're saying is this is actually a romance movie?
No.
He was clearly just disposing of the ooze. Like,
that's what he said.
Okay, so moving on. Apparently, while this is all going on, Shredder had figured out where his lab was, so they attack. The Foot Clan attacks, and the Silent One huffs and puffs, and all the ninjas show up, and they take like 4 or 5 vials of this shit from him, which mysteriously turns into 1 vial at some point. I don't know what they did with the rest of it. And then they use it, and they end up with another vial. So I don't know exactly how many of these things they had, but apparently Shredder took a shit ton of it from him. And then they kidnap the doctor, because obviously he's the only one that knows what's going on. Professor. But he takes the professor knowing that the Ninja Turtles had nothing to do with this guy. Like, how is he supposed to know how the Ninja Turtles became Ninja Turtles when he had nothing to do with the development of the Ninja Turtles?
I feel like you're thinking about the plot more than they were, Vic.
It's possible. It's
Probably
possible.
so.
I should have written this thing. Anyway, there would have been a lot less questions. But so they progress on to he kidnaps him, and he decides that if this is what they can do to the turtles, then maybe I can make my own force of super creatures to battle against the Ninja Turtles. So that's why they're there. So as he's disposing of all of these different containers of crap, and they attack, the Ninja Turtles also figure out where he is and show up just in time to try to stop them from taking all of the ooze. And a fight ensues that, again, is ridiculous because there's no actual contact of any kind. But they go through a fight. They fight for a little while. They do some chair surfing. And eventually, what's his name? The angry one.
Tatsu.
Carlos.
Grabs a golf ball and throws it on the ground, and ninjas vanish. After he throws it at the feet of the Ninja Turtles instead of their own to cause a smoke bomb so they can get away.
Yeah, and then basically they get away with the ooze, and they force the professor to use it on like a wolf and a snapping turtle to create what he thinks is going to be mutant, like his mutant
Counterpart,
army.
his own mutant army counterpart.
His evil turtles, basically. But unfortunately, doesn't work that way because
the best laid plans of Shredder and his Foot Clan are not very well.
the little
laid out.
babies. Little babies, Corey. They're just little babies. Little babies.
God, that's creepy watching you do that.
little babies, Corey.
It's gonna look,
So the doctor,
They don't know anything about the world, Corey. They're little babies.
little tiny babies.
God, you guys are both
So-
creeping me out now.
And the turtles are trying to find a new place to live.
Yes,
They go to this shitty ass, dirty, filthy, spiderweb infested.
Well, they're walking through the sewer,
Subway.
and they're like, "We got to find this." And Raphael takes off again, as he tends to do. He just runs off, gets pissed off, and runs
Kind
away.
of a dick.
Yeah, he's a
That's
bit
what
of a
I
dick.
like about him.
It's rather dickish, and that would be the Brad of the
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
Just
so he
hates
runs
everyone,
off.
and I get it. Just
He
hates
runs
the world.
off and disappears and leaves them to do all the work, finding a place for them to live. And Michelangelo falls in a hole, which Michelangelo always tends to do shit like that. And they just happen to stumble upon one of the great secrets of the New York subway system, the underground terminal under City Hall that is still actually there, and that's what they use for that. However, they had power. They apparently had phones. They had like cars that were there fully lit.
They had a pay phone they could walk around with.
They had the first mobile. They had a very early mobile phone. Very early mobile phone. At which they contacted April to see if she had seen Raphael, which Raphael was with them like mere moments before they decided to make this phone call. Then she was at work. So at what point would Raphael?
The teenagers. Life moves too fast.
Well, when we were watching it, you made mention that you had seen her boss somewhere.
Yeah,
You know who that was?
I don't.
That was the director
Was it?
of the movie. Yes. And the guy that told her that she had a phone call was one of the guys that was in the costume, in one of the turtle costumes.
He just wanted people to see his face.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get out of the goddamn costume.
He's like, this thing is hot. They're like, hey, we don't have to pay him extra.
to play a turtle, you must become a turtle. Yeah, so they end up finding out that the clan end up, because they get Kino to infiltrate into the
yep.
Foot.
Because apparently the Foot have signs up all over New York City saying that they're auditioning.
I think they had want ads.
Yeah.
To be fair, ISIS is kind of doing that now, and we're all just, okay. We don't pay any attention to it. I'm not joining, so what do I care?
So yeah, Kino shows up at the audition. There's like 7 or 8 other guys there who are much older and bigger than he is, obviously. And the guy comes out and says, "All right, here's what's gonna happen."
Shredder's like, ugh, too old.
He likes them young.
I want a young boy.
He likes the ones that can't go to jail for him, that kind of thing.
He's at 19. He's only got one more year.
We had to get rid of him. He's going to age out. So they have him go, and we find out that where Raphael has disappeared to is him and Kino have decided that they are going to infiltrate the Foot, like you said.
They're gonna,
however,
they're gonna press their luck. Kino,
exactly.
gambling, Corey,
Yes.
However,
gambling.
they were told not to do this by Master Shredder, who told them to stay away. Master Splinter, who told them to stay away from the Foot Clan. And they just decided, no, we're going to do this shit anyway. So he goes in, and they have an audition, and the audition is a sparring match with another guy, and the winner gets taken to the next level.
Yeah, it was.
And yeah. So after he beats everybody's ass, apparently, because when you have a tough street gang of ninjas, they have to fight with fully regulation foot pads and gloves on, which kind of made me laugh a little bit. He beats all of them, and did you notice that last guy that he whipped his ass? They all kind of jumped on him after when they were walking away. They all like ran over and like grabbed him to see if he was okay. Like everybody that was in that room ran over to that guy after he beat him, and they were like, "Are you all right? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Weird place to show compassion.
Yeah, all of a sudden. So they take him back and they say, "Okay, well, if you're going to make it to be a true foot ninja, you need to steal all the bells off of this mannequin without ringing it. And if you ring it, you fail." Now, this kid just kicked everybody's ass in that other room. So if he rings one bell, you're not going to let him in. Because the main thing you need is someone who can kick someone's ass, right? Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, you're already hanging up signs. It's not like you're trying to be quiet.
And it's not like you have a whole lot of people because that room only had like 6 ninjas in it in uniform. So
here's the funny thing about that. Well, go ahead and explain how it.
So he tells him that ninjas work in silence and in the shadows. So he throws down a smoke bomb. Raphael runs in and they turn the volume off on the sound machine. And he picks all the bells off and hands them to Kino. Which, when the smoke dissipates, he's got every bell off of the mannequin, and Raphael is very proud of his capability of doing so.
Now, here's the funny thing. I think it's later on Splinter talks about being quiet, like ninjas are always quiet, and they can never do it. Yet in this one scene, he's able to do it.
Well, they all have the ability to do it. They just don't see the point in it.
They just don't do it.
They are giant green teenage turtles. What is the point of being quiet?
Yeah.
I mean, once that cat's out of the bag, there ain't no putting it back in there. Like, there's no point in really trying to be silent to that point. So Kino gets accepted, and they tell him they're going to take him to the next step, which I thought this was the last test, but apparently not, because they have to take him to their Pervo their Pervo center in the middle of this giant fucking junkyard that has like a 50-foot wall of tires around it, perfectly designed for your rakish rogues gallery of bad guys. They take him there to meet the Shredder, and as they're walking in, they get busted basically. But prior to that is when we were talking about Tokka and Razor, who the doctor, and this is why I don't think you're getting the whole doctor's thing. The doctor created them purposely to be idiots because he didn't want them to be a weapon that Shredder could use against them.
Yeah, but
so what was his agenda?
I'm not so sure about that, because when the Ninja Turtles were born, they started out as, at least according to the cartoon opening credits, they started out as little things, and then they started to get and grow and get bigger. So they did go through that whole phase of, being little kids basically and growing up. So
yeah.
So this should be the same thing for these.
No, they actually said that they accelerated their growth. He manipulated it to accelerate their growth because that's what Shredder told him to do.
Yeah, their growth would have been exceeded, but not their mental capacity.
Yeah, but he retarded the serum so that they would come out. They would stay. Their brain wouldn't grow as fast as their bodies did. That was the point of it.
I think Corey's retarded.
I think he missed a bunch of this. But so they make Tokkar and Razor, and Tokkar is a giant snapping turtle, and Razor is a wolf, and they are much bigger and larger than the Ninja Turtles. They have to be, if you say the Ninja Turtles were like 6 foot, they have to be like 7.5 feet tall, and basically gigantic babies that imprint themselves, as animals do, on the first thing they see, which is Shredder, and they decide that he's their mommy, so they're going to do whatever he asks them to do.
Oh.
So he's going to use them to destroy the Turtles, which, I mean, it's not a bad plan when you really think about it, because obviously he can't destroy them because they kicked his ass last time. But he decides that he doesn't want them, so he's just going to get rid of them if he can. But then he realizes that there is probably a good idea to keep them around in order to take out the Turtles. Raphael gets captured in the process, and he tells Kino to run and go get his brothers, which he promptly does. However, walking right back into the same place where their brother just got caught by like all of these guys just seems kind of silly to me. So they go in and they walk right in the middle of a trap, and they get caught up in a net. And my first response to that net was, if only someone had a sword that could cut a rope net open so that they could get out.
Not in this movie.
But apparently, the parents that allow their kids to see this movie don't think it's okay to do that, but it is okay for a rat to fire an arrow at his teenage sons to release them from said trap.
That's okay. He didn't hit them.
What was that?
That voice was creeping him out a minute ago, and now he has adopted it.
Why is it that every time I say something, it's got to get the game show loser song?
Because I control the sounds. See?
You're right. However, A point about this though is that scene where they actually drop out of that net. One of the stuntmen in there, broke his ankle.
No.
As they were dropping out of the net, which didn't seem like it was really that high to me, honestly. But I guess you never know what could happen. However, it did seem kind of a little ridiculous. Like whoever was controlling that crane the entire time, Splinter's like, "Hey, move it closer. No, a little closer." No, I was like, "Okay, so you were going to drop the Ninja Turtles onto those spiky things that you had set up. How many times did you need to really tell that guy move the crane over the spiky things and let them go? Like that was the plan in the first place, right?"
Just move it over the spiky thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure only one instruction needed to really be said about that, but apparently Shredder is a micromanager.
I like the idea of him calling them spiky things.
Yeah, that's how the Ninja Turtles are playing. And again, they get into a big fight with the Ninja Turtles, and they like the Foot Clan is the worst ninja clan ever.
Well, yeah.
Is it just me? Because they can't seem to beat nothing.
Did you not see the cartoon?
To them or the old Star Wars.
Stormtroopers?
Yeah, Stormtroopers.
The worst shots in the universe.
Yeah,
they did improve in the new one though, so that's good.
They get into the big fight, and then they ended up creating an antidote that they had to get them to ingest.
Well, they find out first they find out that Tokar and Razor exist because they just about kicked their ass.
Yeah,
and they escape down a manhole cover in the middle of the junkyard. And escape and decide and rally back to their base. Now they have taken the professor with them when they escaped, and him and Donatello come up with a plan on how to stop Tokar and Razor by creating an anti-mutagen, because the professor tells them that when Shredder told him that he had to make him monsters, he did something to the serum so that they would not be smart. So he turned them into raving idiots so that they wouldn't be as dangerous as they could be. But I kind of think if you give something that big and that strong no brain, you could have a problem of its own. And Shredder sets them loose on the city, and they basically destroy everything, thinking that they're playing a game. So it does come true. Which that scene again, like nobody shows up to help. Like the Ninja Turtles are like, just let them fucking rampage, and the police are just like nowhere to be found till the next morning.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where they set it up where they tell the Turtles that they're going to release them in the Central Park if they don't meet them up for a fight.
Right, because they let them loose in a.
Did I just say meet them up for a fight?
they let them loose in a.
Give that to me.
In a.
That's for me.
Quiet residential area where the only people around were two old people trying to get into a cab, but they tore the place up. So they come up with this anti-ooze stuff.
Is it ever called Ooze in this entire movie?
Yeah. Raphael.
Yeah, he refers to it.
It ain't whatever. It's Ooze.
During the fight with Shredder.
No, I didn't. Must not.
No, it wasn't a fight with Shredder. It was he's talking to somebody else, and they referred to it as goo or something. He's like, "Hey, it's Ooze."
So
get it right.
They make
be
this
respect. Put some respect on. Put some respect on my Ooze.
So they create this pink gunk that looks like vomit, and
y'all finished? Y'all done? Sorry, Birdman. Put some respect on my name.
Wow.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a pretty good pull. So they come up with the anti-mutagen, and he explains to them that they need to give this to them. They're like, oh, well, we'll just inject it on them or something. He's like, no, they have to eat it. So they're like, oh, so we have to get near their mouths. That's great. So they come up with this plan to feed it to them, and they move to they go to their the designated meeting place, which was not Central Park at all.
No, they had. They were going to release them
to
into Central Park if they didn't meet him at the construction site.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then so they start fighting.
Yeah,
and then Raphael gets thrown into a wall.
Yeah,
that is separating this huge fight at this construction site.
Hold on. Before that. They have to give them the ice cubes that they've created, and they put inside of donuts, and they tell them that they have to observe the tradition of the pre-fight donut, And everyone's like, all of the Foot Clan are like, pre-fight donut? I didn't know anything about this. How come no one ever told us about this pre-fight donut? Like, they were all interested in this ceremony that they didn't know anything about. So they were all fooled. They managed to give Tokar and Razor one donut each that they scarfed down. And then for whatever reason, Razor realizes there's something inside of the donut. And I couldn't figure out exactly how he figured this out, but he crushes the donut and there's an ice cube in there, which has this thing ever seen an ice cube? Like, why would he think that was something bad? Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But so they proceed to try to fight them. Now they're inside of a construction zone, right? And all of a sudden, all these ninjas show up, and they are standing right in front of this gate. And the gate opens up, and Tokar and Razor come out of it. They never saw them standing in there. Like, how did they miss them in there?
Oh.
Like, I would have walked over and locked that gate just to make sure they stayed in there.
Probably the same way everybody at the... So they bust in, and it's a Vanilla Ice concert.
Everybody paid good money to see Vanilla Ice.
It's a Vanilla Ice concert.
Ninja rap.
That was your contribution?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be something a little more.
Well, the dance was visual, so it wouldn't
now,
work on the
was
podcast.
was this Vanilla Ice's first appearance in the movie, or was he?
No.
Did he have his movie before
ninja,
this?
Go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go ninja, go ninja, go! Go, 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 go!
That's him warming up.
He's got to get into it.
It's so funny. And nobody at the concert just seems to mind that these creatures
I mean, at least they kind of talked it away, because Kadeem Hardison, who's not credited in the movie, and the chick in the red dress, they're both looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, oh, this club is great. Check out those costumes. They look so real. So, like, at least they kind of play it off a little bit, which is the only time they've ever done that in any of these movies.
Yeah, and they end up...
Getting into a dance battle. With Tokar and Razor, who apparently can't dance. And they fight them and try to... And realize that the mutagen isn't working. I guess because they swallowed it, but it's in ice form, and they needed it to disperse in their system. So they need to figure out a way to do it. So while they're fighting, the professor explains to them, him and Donatello have a conversation that says, well, we need them to disperse this stuff into their system, and the only way to get them to do that is to make them burp. And the only way to make them burp is to apparently knock them over and shove fire extinguishers in their mouth, which they had to hope that they were carbon dioxide fire extinguishers.
That's how I, after I used to feed my daughter when she was a baby.
It's like, come on, baby,
I would
burp.
throw her down and put a fire extinguisher in her mouth.
Then no problems. We're all good after that. Distended belly, but hey, what's the big deal? So they finally get these idiots to they get them loaded up with this thing, and they go to sleep for whatever reason. It puts them to sleep, and they proceed to dance and have a good time and proclaim their victory. Yet they forgot that fucking Shredder is nowhere to be seen until he comes busting through a speaker. I think he did. Is that what he went through? It was like a giant speaker. Like he just kind of appeared on stage,
right?
I thought it was a giant speaker. He like bust out of the Kool-Aid fucking man. Oh yeah, and just shows up on stage with a giant bottle of mutagen, which the Ooze they had just used to make fucking Tokar and Razor. All of a sudden, he's got a whole nother bottle of that shit. It's literally like they can go to the store and buy it, because they only had one bottle of it when they left. And this is like the third bottle they've come up with. So he's threatening to use it for whatever reason, but I'm thinking if you just throw it on the crowd, it's not really going to do a whole lot to hurt them at first. So it was kind of a veiled threat. And then he takes the chick who, for whatever reason, followed the Ninja Turtles up onto the stage. She is a groupie.
Groupie bitches.
You can't do anything about them. Her and her boyfriend actually go up on stage, and Shredder takes her hostage and threatens to use the little tiny vial of mutagen that he had in his belt for whatever reason, just in case, I guess, on her if they didn't give up, and they don't. So while he's distracted yelling at them, Michelangelo and Donatello, is it Michelangelo or is it Raphael? I don't know. Two of them amp up, turn the speaker up all the way as loud as it'll go, and Michelangelo hits the synth guitar, and sends Shredder flying about 135 feet out the side of the building, which this building is not built to code. Because they knocked Raphael through a wall that fell down on top of everybody, and then they just launched Shredder out of a wall that should have probably been a lot stronger than it was, onto the pier, and they then proclaimed their victory again. Yet we figured out that Shredder doesn't die that easy, because he came back once. He's probably going to come back again, and he does, and he comes back as Super Shredder, a ginormous 10-foot tall behemoth version of Shredder.
He looked like a 7-foot world heavyweight champion who could beat Bob Backlund in 5 seconds for the world championship. That's right.
But wait.
It was Kevin Nash all along. Oz.
Yes.
Big sexy.
Big sexy.
Diesel.
So
Trump supporter.
Allegedly.
No, he's wearing. There's a picture of him wearing a shirt.
Yeah, but wasn't he just trolling everybody?
No, maybe. But anyways,
once that cat's out of the bag, ain't going back either.
But yeah, so Super Shredder comes up, but like really doesn't do shit because he just starts like taking out the doc, or whatever.
He's just like pissed off. Also, apparently, Mutagen can change your clothes as well because his helmet grew along with the rest of everything.
He had more
he had
spikes.
On him. Yeah,
and they're all like. I will say this though, I like that Shredder more than I did the one in the newer one. I thought that was way too much CGI and shit with the suit and just way too much. Yeah, but he just starts taking out all the the fucking
the support
beams and everything, and they're like, "Hey, dude, you're just gonna kill all of us," and he's like, "All right, whatever. I didn't like life anyways." I was reaching out for help.
Do you know how stupid I look in this giant Ginsu helmet?
And
you realize that. Okay, finish what happened in that scene, and then I'll.
Well, just the thing collapses, and he is dead. And the turtles escape because they remembered that they're turtles,
and they can swim, can hold their breath
and
underwater.
Hold their breath. Yeah, so they just jumped in the water.
Which the entire time he's taking out the support structure, I'm like, hey, like they're all worried they're going to die. I'm like 3 inches to the right or the left, and you guys are alive. Like,
well, plus you have shells.
Exactly. Like tuck in.
Yeah.
And just,
You realize that through the whole movie they never actually fought Shredder.
Yeah.
Never once. Of course, they didn't have anything to fight with. I guess.
Wow.
In thinking about it now, they didn't have their size or their kendo.
Well, they had all of them. They just never pulled them out to use them.
They were stuck to their back.
That was the problem.
And then we go back, and we're back at the apartment, and April reads a note on the air from Professor, thanking the turtles for saving him.
My name.
And and everything else. And Splinter's just sitting there like, this motherfucker.
Like, I am trying to keep these fools quiet, and shit ain't happening.
And then he tells them, like, they show up, and he's like, hey, I thought y'all motherfuckers were gonna be quiet out there.
You're supposed to be fucking ninjas. No, did anyone see you?
And they're like, no, of course not. And then he holds up the paper, and it has them on the cover of it, and he just starts going, go ninja, go.
Okay, so
I made it funny.
Again, these are the fastest fucking newspapers ever printed in life. He has a printed newspaper before they get home.
Now that you say that, yeah. How the hell did that happen?
Before they even get back to the lair, which is only down the street, apparently.
You know what? That's more believable than Vanilla Ice freestyling that rap.
That's true. He came up with that thing on the fly like a boss.
And then, well, no, I'm not saying it was very good, but just like from him, it's like you didn't think of that on the spot.
Who'd you
Come
steal
on,
that from?
come on, Ice. Vanilla V, come on.
Let's talk. Let's be 100. Let's keep it 100. Who did that for you?
All right, we'll come right back with the results. We'll find out if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze is a survivor. So enjoy these quick announcements from our sponsors. It's commercial time. Corey, where can the people find you at?
You can find me.
Oh, no, not even close. Vic, where can the people find you at?
You can find me online at MillerKing51 on internet, and you can find me playing Xbox Live, especially Overwatch right now, which is one of the greatest fucking games ever. From Blizzard Entertainment, free plug. at Black and Angry. That's BLAQ and
plug
Angry.
them.
Fuck you. Greatest game manufacturer ever. I will. Yes.
Once they give
one
us
third
money,
of
they'll
it.
plug
One
them.
third of this fucking podcast is mine. I will give them props because they deserve it. So there.
Blizzard, you better give us some money.
You can find me at bradscottcomedy.com. We have links to social media on there as well. Most of them are at Brad Scott Comedy. Follow The Showdown on Twitter at The Showdown Pod, and click like on Facebook, The Showdown Podcast. Somebody should. Corey.
You can find me on Twitter at NKOGonzo. Also on Letterboxd at NKOGonzo, which Letterboxd now has an app, and you can have it at your fingertips. So find me there. Follow me. And
Way to out-talk the music.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to the show.
I'm Television's Dave Landau, and you're listening to the Showdown Podcast. I really wish these guys would stop bringing my name up.
Welcome back to the Showdown Podcast. It is one of our Survivor Series episodes. We've been talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And we've watched the movie just a couple hours ago. So, Corey, you have never seen it before. So let's start with you. Does the movie hold up?
not a chance.
Not a chance.
Nope.
And you want to give any reasoning to that?
It was just... no. I mean, for me, I don't know. I know the suits were high tech at the time and whatnot, but it just, now looking back on it, they're not. They're not. I don't think that holds up. I thought a lot of the lines were cheesy. I just didn't like the pizza. But no, I just, it was just corny to me. And no, so.
He almost got away with that shit too.
I know.
He tried to throw a cheesy joke in there.
I looked at Brad.
Now, if you had pulled a I told a joke out of there, I would have fucking given you a coin.
I completely missed it. That's how bad the joke was.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, he's just saying nonsense.
I'll tell the truth, you weren't even really listening anyway.
No. I just kind of look at you and wait to talk.
Yeah.
That was for me. So I'll go next. Like I said, I was obsessed with this movie when I was 9. When I was 9 is key. And I guess I loved it. I watched it every single Friday. As I was watching it today, I could like taste Little Caesars pizza, and I could the nostalgia, everything just came flooding back immediately.
Well, there's a Little Caesars right like 2 minutes away.
Oh no, there's one 2 minutes from my house. There's one I think 2 minutes from everywhere.
Everybody's house now. Yeah.
So you can push Little Caesars, but I can't have Blizzard.
No, you were
Fuck you, old man.
That was not even close to what I was.
So, like I said, I saw it when I was 9 and I loved it. And all that nostalgia hit me in the face, made me love it just as much today. So it's a survivor for me because, again, it's my childhood, and it was such a big part of my childhood. And watching it, I can remember, it was like I could remember watching the same scenes from when I was a kid, like the opening fight sequence and just the discovery of Toka and Razor. Vic, what about you?
So, watching this movie again, and I am an animate Ninja Turtle fan. I love everything about the Ninja Turtles, their stories, like the background behind it and everything. Watching this particular movie had so many freaking questions come up for me, but when it's all said and done, I still laughed and enjoyed the movie as much as I did when I saw it back in '91.
But were you laughing at jokes that were made, or the fact that it was just dumb?
No, literally laughing at just some of the silly shit that they did made it enjoyable enough for me to say, yes, it's a Survivor.
It's a Survivor! Yes, I agree. No, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what he's laughing at. He enjoyed watching the movie today as much as he did then. Doesn't matter the reasons.
I'm just asking.
I mean, if your reasons change for liking something, as long as you still like it.
But for it to become a Survivor, don't we have to have all three of us?
No.
It's best
No,
2 out of
we've
3.
we've
always been the best 2 out of 3.
And I've always tried to gauge your guys' reactions and set it up to where we have a tiebreaker. That's why I went you and then me and then Vic.
So you knew I was going to say no.
Well, because you're that shitty of a person. Why wouldn't you shit on a great movie? Okay, here's the thing. Like, it's like with the new ones. Our good friend, Television's Dave Landau, who you just heard on our bumper there, where we're pissing off again by bringing him up. He absolutely despised and hated the movie that came out like 2 years ago with Will Arnett and everything. I mean, he hated it because he loved the Ninja Turtles so much as a kid that he just thought it was just
I still haven't watched
awful
that one yet.
money grab. I mean, to me, it's not great, but it's fine. And like, I think he didn't enjoy it because he's not a parent. Like, as a parent, you go to so many kids' movies that are just bad. So the chance to go see the Ninja Turtles, like they couldn't have lost with me because I was just excited to not be watching the newest young princess, that Disney's trying to push down my daughter's throat. Like, I was happy to have a break from that. So I think when he has a son now, and when his son gets old enough to go to movies, I think if he would have had his son with him and it would have been a movie he would have saw with his kid, I think he would have liked it. Because,
the lightning in his kid's eye about seeing what's going on the screen.
Yeah, my daughter.
Seeing these giant turtles jump and flip around. And I mean, there's more action in these newer ones than anything close to. Even though there's some absurdities, like the whole Shredder thing, like that's what blew that one for me, was Shredder is just way too far out of the box.
Yeah,
as far as it, it's a giant mech suit that I'm gonna that part
where
killed
he's
it
shooting
for
out
me.
the
that part killed it for me. But like the Ninja Turtles themselves, and everybody's like, oh, but they don't look like Ninja Turtles. They don't look right. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's just like everything can't look exactly the same.
I like how people say they don't look like Ninja Turtles as if they really exist.
Well,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, well, what do Ninja Turtles?
Right,
they look like
show
turtles.
Me a live picture so we can compare.
By the way, the Ninja Turtles just look like turtles with headbands and belts on. You realize, like, they don't look like true ninjas.
Not only that, but like they're anthropomorphic turtles. Like, what the hell are you supposed to have them look like? Honestly,
well, I mean, I feel like if you're a parent, you love these new movies because it's just like, oh, it's a nice break from everything else you normally have to go see, especially if you liked the Ninja Turtles as a kid. Whereas, if I was just a single 34-year-old going to see the movie, I'd probably be like, oh, that was kind of...
You'd probably get some stares.
I also think the other part to it too is the newer version of that is not based after the actual comic book. It's based after the Nickelodeon version of Ninja Turtles. So that did change a lot of things. And if you look at that version of the Ninja Turtles, they do look like those turtles.
And I want to see the dude that has the brain in his stomach.
Krang.
Yeah. Now we made jokes in the beginning about how I was too old for this movie. I did watch the cartoon. I don't know do you remember when the cartoon came out?
I want to say it was like 87.
See, at that point I was
something
87.
like that.
87, I believe.
Did I actually pull that right?
Yeah,
I know it was in there, but
yep, that's the most.
Yeah.
That seems
I
to be
I did watch the cartoon. I played the
So
arcade.
you didn't have.
But at this point, when these movies came out,
I'm asking this question after watching the cartoon and enjoying the cartoon and the video games. There was nothing in you that said, "I want to see this brought to real life."
To tell you the truth,
because that's exactly why I went and saw that movie.
To tell you the truth, at that point, being in high school. I wasn't really going to a lot of movies. I didn't watch movies like I do now, just because I was. I don't know. No,
because now movies have words and sound. He's not used to watching talkies, so that way he was adjusting at that point.
But
where's Charles Chaplin?
But before we go on and talk a little bit about what the new.
Well, yeah, let's do we have any? Corey, by chance, is there any way we have any like critic reviews of the movie or?
Yeah, we do. There is one review I wanted to read that was on IMDb that I thought was funny. This is one guy's review. At the end of it, says, "It's a great sequel that is both funny and as well as serious, and it's a great movie for for any age. The only thing that bothered me was that it was slightly too focused on the youth audience and didn't stay 100% with the original dark atmosphere.
You know, it's not like in the original they were cutting people's fucking heads
Right,
off
and
or raping April. You know, like I don't know what
They did kidnap her and take her to some strange building in the woods.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like there was nothing that dark
Well,
about the
I
first
see what they're
one.
saying. Like the darkness is like they were very broody and kind of like, you know what I mean, like Michelangelo.
Oh God!
and-
So they're
not
emo.
Michelangelo.
Raphael.
and Casey Jones were all kind of like they're broody dark, but not like
It's
not
emo.
like evil dark. Like I
Yeah.
didn't see that at all.
That's not.
So
That's
for them to say it's
emo,
dark,
dude.
like-
That's them listening to Marilyn Manson.
Right. It wasn't
which
like
is
it was
an
like
awful old reference by me. I just don't know the newer emo music.
yeah. But like that's what I was like. What kind of dark is he
Death
talking
Cab
about?
for
Like,
Cutie.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that he was like, let's see, it's too focused on the youth audience. This is a movie for kids. It's supposed to be for the youth audience.
Too many references to pizza and
Who eats
childish
pizza?
things, toys. They're in a toy store. Oh,
But then, as we've done in the past, we have What Would Jesus Watch?
what would Jesus watch?
We really need to come up with a better
WWJW.
Okay.
WWJW is presented by
Okay, so here's one.
no
The
sponsor.
Trinity.
The Holy Bible. Make sure you get your copy of a Holy Bible. You can find them at hotels. Oh, excuse me, Bible. The Holy Bible. You can find them at hotels, and a lot of times, yeah, they give you free Bibles.
So,
Brad, I don't think you're supposed to take those with you when you leave.
Ooh.
no, they restock them. So there's a couple things in here I wanted to read. They've got a huge, this really long review, but one line
They're always worth reading. Just go through it.
Yeah, it says, although technically better than the first, without the language problems, Ninja Turtles 2 still sends the same messages as the last picture. The way to solve problems is by beating your opponents to a pulp. The violence, though comic book, runs throughout and is synonymous with the action. The movie blatantly encourages children to develop martial art fighting skills and insinuates that one can rest secure in his knowledge of the martial arts. I didn't really get that from that movie.
I do remember when I watched it, I was like, oh, yeah, why am I trying to talk out my problems? I should just become a giant turtle who knows karate.
Yeah.
I get that. That makes
Or
sense.
an 18-year-old short Asian kid that can kick everybody's ass.
Yeah. Why have I not become Bruce Lee yet? That's been my issues.
They also go on to say, also there's a distressing amount of Eastern mysticism and New Age thought in the film. Splinter, for instance, teaches the turtles to be masters of themselves and their environment. There's even a tie-in with...
Do they think he's talking about jerking off?
Could be.
Because, I could actually understand why they would get that impression from Splitter.
Guys, where's Splitter?
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Really? Doing what?
Coming.
I just finished.
They should change that to shower. We should change that to shower. Like every time he saw you in the shower. Oh, yeah?
The final paragraph here. Furthermore, what kind of example does it set to use revenge as a main plot device to move the story along? Isn't that what a lot of action films are?
Wait, isn't that what a lot of the Bible is?
Did they forget about the Crusades? Like I'm sorry, but whenever something like this starts talking about violence, all you have to do is say, "Did you forget about the Crusades?" Because that will completely counteract anything they come
Well,
up
and
with.
didn't somebody cut a baby in half in the Bible?
I'm not sure about that.
It never came down to it, but they threatened to.
Yeah, they were gonna cut. You don't remember that story? The two moms both claim that they're the mother of a child, and so this king is like, "All right, then I'll cut the baby in half, and you can each have a half."
Actual
of
mother
the dead
says,
baby.
"No, give it to her."
Well, no, hold on.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So now the Vic's spoiled. The actual mother is like, "Well, no, I love my child, too much. Just give her the baby. I want the baby to be safe. And then the other mother's like, fuck it, cut him up.
I ain't got to worry about
What
feeding
if
them no more.
what if the real mom just was really petty, and like the other lady was just a good person? So it literally went to the wrong lady, but because the real mom was just too like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. We think I'm gonna back down.
They're like, give her the kid, and the other one's like, fuck, I didn't want him in the first place.
What if that story was about?
I was just looking for tax rebates.
What if that story was about Miley Cyrus and her baby? You gonna cut him up, buddy? Cut up my baby. I'll take out for baby.
There has to be a Wrecking Ball reference in there somewhere.
I want the top half. Tell you that, buddy. Cut him. Cut the baby.
Okay, so it says
Cut the fucking baby, y'all. Sorry.
He's stuck. He's going full Miley. Never go full Miley.
Okay, so what else
All
does
right.
Jesus
I
have to say about this movie?
I have to go back a little bit just to make this sound right. Okay, what kind of example does it set to use revenge as a main plot device to move the story along? Not a very good one. Nor is the Turtles' arrested stage of adolescent development an appropriate role model for teenagers wishing to advance beyond the age of 15. For the very young, the horrific nature of the super mutated beast is sure to give them nightmares. Overall, the film is forgettable and not worth time or money.
Was there anything about those two idiot mutants that terrified you as a 9-year-old?
No, not at all.
Like, they made them as,
Literally, their first words are "mama."
cartoonish. Yeah.
Their only words.
Yeah.
They, as cartoonish as possible. Jim Henson doesn't make really scary stuff too often. Too often.
Dark Crystals.
Too often. I knew that. I know that there's Dark
He
Crystals. So that's
created
why I
that
said too often.
Corey thing in Labyrinth.
Of course. So, would we recast it?
Would we recast it? Who would?
Now you can't. Obviously, you can't recast the Turtles.
You could.
You've got Chino, as Vic calls him, and April.
That's
That's it.
And the professor.
Shredder.
And the professor.
Shredder.
Yeah, but Shredder's just a dude in a steel mask. You just have to get an Asian guy. You
Yeah.
could use Ken fucking Jong.
What about Miley Cyrus as April?
I've already done. You want to do another Miley?
I'm just asking. I didn't.
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
suggesting.
Are you trying to James Lipton me? Is Miley Cyrus from the Ninja Turtles here, Brad? Can I speak to her?
It's like,
All right, buddy. Hey, I live with turtles. I fucked them all, but I live with these turtles. I said, "Is those swords or sex toys, Leonardo? Put it in my vagina."
Jesus Christ.
see, it works.
Corey would like that version of the movie.
I'm the news reporter, buddy. I tell the news.
So as this episode is coming out, the new movie, the sequel is coming out this weekend. Are you guys excited?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my daughter are going to go see it.
We get to see Casey Jones again too, which is a bonus because he can't really
yeah.
have that story without having Casey Jones in there. He's a big part of the the original story.
And your wife is going to be happy with that.
Of course she is, because fucking Stephen Amell, and
Yes.
that's just a thing. But
Ooh, that means he might be at SummerSlam then.
Yeah.
Because they'll have shit to promote.
he's still doing it too. But the having all the extra things, like having Rocksteady and Bebop in it, they didn't have them in this particular
Seamus.
movie.
Seamus.
They didn't have either of them in this movie because they were too worried about the legalities of doing it, and they would have to go through a bunch of legal paperwork. So that's
what?
why for this movie, Secret of the Ooze, originally they wanted to have Rocksteady and Bebop in it. But because they having to go through legalities of getting the releases to use them, they went with Tokar and Razor and made up 2 new characters for it.
Why would there be legalities over it though? Aren't they all?
Yeah, you would think
Well,
you would think if you've already gotten the Turtles and Splinter and Shredder and April O'Neil, you could secure a couple of side villains.
You would think that it would be that easy, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to go through the fight. So
Oh, what a
apparently,
dick. It's like when Michael Jordan wouldn't let himself be on video games, so you always had to get player 1,
Right.
99 rating. And
yeah, number 23.
yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking. The thing is the original creators of the comic book, Eastman and Laird, may not have actually created those 2 characters.
You think they were created for the cartoon only?
Well, no. someone else may be responsible for creating those characters, the artists, the original people who made those characters. Just because the Eastman and Laird made the Ninja Turtles comic books doesn't mean that every character in it was their IP. Somebody else may have come up with those characters, may have designed them, introduced them.
What
and
kind
put
of
them in
idiot
there.
are you? Especially, like, if that's your only stake is those characters, why wouldn't you want them to be in a movie?
Well, true, but think about how much money you'd probably have to. They would probably ask for to have them in there. It probably wasn't on this side of it. It was probably on the creator's side of it saying, well, yeah, you can use them, but we want this much money for them. And they're like, I'm not fucking giving you that much money. And then having to go through a legal fight saying, well, they're part of the overall Ninja Turtle IP. We're used them anyway. And then they go into a legal battle. That's the only thing I can figure. But that's exactly what they said the reason why they weren't in there was. So apparently they got over it here. But those characters, plus having Krang and his, I forgot what they call his robot suit is in there. Baxter Stockman's in there. Like, they brought a lot of characters into this story.
Is Baxter going to be a fly?
Baxter is no, but he is a black guy.
That's different.
No, he's a black guy in the newer cartoons too.
Is he?
Yeah. Like I said, this whole universe with Ninja Turtles is following Nickelodeon's version of the Ninja Turtles, not Eastman.
I don't like that animation. Not to get off on this.
Well, again, it comes down to it's for a younger audience. Like they redesigned it. It's just like let's see.
They did that
you
with
watch
Transformers too a few years ago.
Well, they did with a lot of Transformers,
Yeah.
but like we were talking about Teen Titans Go. So Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, was completely different from Teen Titans Go, but it was their way of getting a younger audience to appreciate that cartoon. Because literally the storylines, all of the like the direction of the stories are all the same as Teen Titans. All of those stories are exactly the same. They just made them cutesier for a younger generation to enjoy, and that's what they did with this one. That's why it follows that. But turning it into a movie makes it more realistic. So.
Well, like I said, I haven't seen the first one, the one that came out a couple years ago. I'm planning on watching it before I see the new one. So
I think it's on Netflix, maybe.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
Netflix and it's on Hulu.
I think it just came up on there too.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch that. I'm not going to go to the theater and see it. I'll eventually see it when it comes like on
I will
DVD.
not support this movie in any monetary way.
Well,
I'm just
I
going
gotta
to watch it.
I got to save my money for the ones I really want to see. But
The Shallows. Ooh, we need to do a summer movie preview episode and talk about The Shallows.
But I think after seeing the trailer a couple of times, I think it looks pretty decent. It doesn't look bad at all.
The first one, I think got a lot of bad press. Them thinking that like it wasn't going to hold up or it wasn't going to be a good story, or they had Megan Fox as April O'Neil, which she did a pretty good job. Like it's just that again, they made it so that it appealed to, I think, more of an older crowd than the teenage crowd, but it's based off of the universe that's designed for kids, and that's why Shredder's a fucking ridiculous story.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that since Shredder is in that storyline, but I'm hoping like they do something to make it so that he's not quite so
Like in the
fucking
background.
ridiculous. Yeah. Because Krang fucking blows his shit out of the water nonstop. So he's kind of like a second-rate, thug at that point, so...
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Showdown Podcast. This was Survivor Series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, and the final result, it survives.
but not going in the hall.
Oh, it's going into the hall.
Oh, yeah, we're putting it in the hall.
As soon as we can get connected back to our Instagram account.
I would like to see you stop us.
Well, considering I can't get into it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. And it wasn't until Corey was like, oh, let me try to get into that Instagram account. Now it's all fucked up. But it'll be back up soon.
Jankified.
And this will be added into the mini classics. And so thank you again for listening. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. For Vic Miller, Corey Miller, I'm Brad Scott. This has been the Showdown Podcast.
Later.
Always have to get one more word in, you dick.
Every time.